Today we are so pleased to have Laura VonDracek, who is one of our favorite customers. Sorry,
Yay for books. Yay for independent bookstores. Yay for all the stuff at Chaucer's. Yeah. So anyway.
She is a former New Yorker. She was actually an attorney in New York before moving here 15 years ago. And she has been with us. She loves swimming, beach walking, all things water, really. And she also, just side note, has been the artist and designer of the dinnerware for Nobu in all the New York, Las Vegas, Miami. Very pleased. And today she is introducing her new book, Jemma and the Mermaid's Call. So please help me introduce her.
Thank you all so much for coming. This is my pleasure to be here, and as I said, to come and have the official book launch at Chaucer's, which is my favorite bookstore, and just wholeheartedly support independent bookstores, and so let's keep them alive. So anyway, so pleased to have my official book launch with them. This is really special for me. So, and really special for me too, because I was also, before becoming a New York attorney, I was in children's books in publishing in New York. And so it's a place sort of near and dear to my heart. So I've always written, more journal, that kind of thing, would have loved to have written, but every time I tried writing, it either imploded or exploded, or however you want to say, the stories never really took off. But this time it did, so I felt like I really had something. So here we go, and I have to do a little something with my hair because it starts to fall, and I don't have both hands or three hands to push it away, and also read and hold the book at the same time. So, welcome to Jemma and the Mermaid's Call. Okay. My artist was a fabulous, and still is a fabulous guy who is English, and he lives in Bulgaria. So we had our communication via, Zoom, et cetera, and eventually developed into my vision. So anyway, wonderful guy, and that's how it came to be. So we will begin. Okay, beautiful and pages that you can look for all kinds of things, octopi, a mermaid tail, jellyfish, et cetera, et cetera. Beautiful, vibrant colors. And now we begin. Okay, and I've written a wish and a plea for the sea to you from me. Okay, Jemma and the Mermaid's Call. Jemma was a spunky, spirited, smart, and confident gal of the sea. Better known as a mermaid in human speak, she loved to explore and get things done. Each morning, as the sun's rays filtered down upon her cozy home, she would wake from her restful slumber, climb out of her abalone bed, layered in plush seaweed, and gently fluff her soft sponge pillow. Another day, another adventure to discover. She could hardly wait to see what newness she might find. Can you all see? Okay? Okay. Would she play with a pod of fun dolphins, zooming along with them through the wide open sea, surfing the waves and dancing with them under the water? Or maybe she would come across her huge whale friends who would toss her ever so gently into the air on their great spouts of water, and then dive deeply with them into the depths. Or maybe she'd search for treasure. She combed her long, thick hair, made a good breakfast so she'd have plenty of nourishment to keep her going for the day's adventure, brushed her teeth, and chose her outfit, a magenta seaweed top, and finally adorned herself with her favorite turquoise necklace and bracelets. And off she went, ready to explore the deep blue sea, looking and feeling fabulous. She couldn't imagine a better world to live in, a world where nearly everything and everyone danced in the ocean's currents and tides, sea kelp and seagrass and big schools of beautifully colored fish, purples and blues and yellows and oranges, as delicate coral fans waved hello to her. It was like a magical melody of music, all swaying and playing and moving along together in a magnificent harmony, energized by the sun, the moon, the wind, and the tides. But one morning, even though her body told her it was time to rise, light did not filter down to her as she lay in bed, not even the pale grayness of stormy days atop the sea, when light would only barely trickle down. Instead, today she was still encased in the total blackness of night. She felt along her bed for her trusty headlamp and buck knife, long ago gifts from the world above, and knew she had to investigate this darkness. So up she swam and swam when... Wham! Bam! She was bumping and thumping into so many things, things that she had never seen before, so she didn't know what they were. But they had somehow formed a giant floating island of stuff above her, so huge and wide that she could not get through it, could not get around it, and dare not try to swim through it for fear she would get herself tangled in this massive mess. Now what, she wondered as she shone her light around the heap. What was this tangled and mangled, knotted and twisted, thick mess of stuff that she would later come to learn were fishing nets and lines and ropes and lobster traps and shoes and hats and plastic, everywhere plastic. Bottles and cups and containers and tarps and tents and bags and bubble wrap of every size imaginable. Smashed up surfboards, boogie boards, paddles, fins and life preservers, deflated beach balls, soccer balls, and balloons, styrofoam of all shapes and sizes, plastic chairs and tables, plates, forks, knives, and spoons. It was endless, an endless island of floating plastic trash. Feeling overwhelmed, Jemma swam back home to think. What, she wondered, was happening to her beloved ocean home, and what could she do to help? She knew one thing: we've got to clean up this mess. But how? So she got out her trusty air horn and let it rip. 3 times. 3 loud, loud, loud blasts that alerted all the mer people and sea life far and wide that an emergency meeting was needed now. The very next day, from all over the world's oceans, near and far, came representatives from all the different mer people tribes, along with a host of so much sea life, small and large: whales, dolphins, octopi, tuna, sharks, seahorses and clownfish, sea turtles and seals, rays, and so many others. The meeting was called to order by Jemma. She placed her headlamp in the center of the circle so they could all, just barely, see one another. As they all sat together in the shadowy darkness, Jemma explained what she had seen. Then she took them up above and showed them the horrible mess of garbage that was overtaking their beloved watery home. They swam back down in sad silence and formed another circle. Soon others began to speak up that such darkness and islands of trash were floating in their ocean homes too. And with that realization, they knew that something had to be done to clean up their homes. And together, they figured out that everyone, small or large, could in their own way help. If the swordfish and sailfish could use their long, sharp bills, they could saw through much of the knotted ropes and rip through the plastic tarps. The barracudas and sharks, with their piercing and strong jaws, could bite through some of the junk and break up the big patches, while each merperson and octopus could collect the floating plastic bags and fill them up with the things they found: shoes, hats, tattered clothing, wrappers of every kind, bottle caps and scraps and straws. Then anyone with a fin could swim them to the shores and let the waves carry the harvested loads onto the land. And as they broke apart the giant island of trash, then the mighty and powerful whales could push the smaller, now more manageable islands of trash towards the shore. Now that was a plan. And right then and there, they all made a pledge to one another to clean up our beloved oceans and seas and to begin this massive project the very next day. And they did. Piece by piece, bag by bag, mass by mass, push by mighty push, together they began dismantling the giant island of trash. And each day, as they worked, a little more sunlight graced their deep sea depths, which made everyone, especially Jemma, feel so good, productive, and proud, that together they were rescuing, restoring, and taking care of their beloved homes, because as they finished cleaning up one part of the sea, they then, as a dedicated and committed community, moved on to the next floating island of trash, bringing back the light and the clean waters they had known before the garbage took over all the seas and oceans all over the world. What a triumph. And when they were finished cleaning up the last island of trash, all the sea life and all the mer tribes honored Jemma with the grand title of Clean Keeper of our Seas. And she was delighted, and they celebrated with a joyous and sumptuous feast and karaoke and dancing for days and days. And now, as land people, it's our turn to help. So that when you walk the beach and see a piece of trash, whether it be big or small, to pick it up and bring it to a proper trash can so it doesn't wash back into the waters. Especially after our sea friends have worked so hard to get it to us, you can do it. Bring a bag or a pail and even some gloves when you go for a beach walk. Pick up what you see, and who knows, you might even find some cool treasure along the way. Voila.
Yes.
So Laura, I know you're a longtime journaler. So what made you decide to do this book?
I've always written and journaled my whole life. As I said, I sort of tried various attempts at writing something for publication in the past, but they all just sort of imploded or exploded. And this one, as I was journaling one day, it just came forth. I love the ocean, I walk the beach, I pick up trash all the time when I'm walking, and I've been a swimmer all my life, so you know, mermaidness is in my blood, in my veins, in my soul, and it just all came together, you know. Jemma just popped in. It's a name I had used long ago for a character in the past, but that story never worked, so I love the name, so it came much later. But yeah, I just really wanted to write and publish something. So when I wrote this, I'm like, oh, finally, I've got something. So anyway,
Excellent.
It's beautiful, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Does anybody have any questions?
What's the best treasure that you found walking?
Oh my gosh, amazing, like just sea glass. You know, I create sea glass mosaics on vintage windows, so all kinds of like cool sea glass, but I mean, I always find it rather satisfying when I get some cool trash too, because it just feels very like fishing rods and, you know, just all kinds of dog leashes and whatever, stuff that is just not your average piece of float wrapper and stuff like that. So I get satisfaction from a lot of things that most people probably don't. But yeah, some cool pieces of sea glass would have to be it. Marbles and things like that along the way. So, and I did want to just say, I read to you from a larger size version. This is offered through me on my website, and I have cards up here if you're interested. You can contact me at Chaucer's is selling this smaller version. You know, so whatever you're interested in, you know, that's how it goes. So
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you. Yeah, I just really wanted to, like, our oceans and what we can do for them. So every little bit helps. So.
Hey, shall we get her to sign some books?
Yes.